Gail Simone is still in her bag, man, with Unbreakable X-Men #2 because it answers the question, where are the outliers? You already know what to do. Roll that intro, cuss. Yeah. What's going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earthsmack the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel. So today, we are covering Unbreakable X-Men #2, and you want to stick around to the end of this video because you will hear my personal review on Gail Simone's Unbreakable X-Men #2. So let's get into it. So Unbreakable X-Men #2 opens up with Gambit still thinking about Rogue, and he says, "She called me Dark Eye sometimes. When I was a little child, girls would scream when they saw my eyes. Not her, not Rogue. She looked right at me, never turned away. She said she loved my eyes. The day she become this thing, this giant, inert, lifeless statue, I began to lose my eyesight. Ransom said it's because my retinas got burned in the flash. But I know the truth. I don't have nothing left worth looking at. And God help me if I ever got my vision back. I'd have to see what's left of her, and I think that might be enough to break me. I'm tired to my bones and ready to be with my wife. Nightcrawler, he done prayed with me. I hope someone is listening." And that's when Henrietta puts her hand on his shoulder to say, "Remy, come inside, son. I know what it's like. The grief, the pain, the guilt for simply being alive. Come to Auntie Henrietta." And she embraces Remy, and he says, "I thought I didn't have no tears left, but I was wrong." And she says she will be so proud. "So come inside. You're disheveled, Remy. You look a proper shock." You're like, "Yeah, I did kill some zombies, so I might be a mess." She's like, "Look, I forgive you, sweet prince. Come inside. They need you." And he says something profound. He says, "Lady Henrietta been living in a graveyard underground for 100 years or more, and her kiss still feels like sunshine. I envy the light in her." See, the thing is, what you got to know about Remy is that it's two distinctive qualities about Remy outside of him, having the power of kinetic energy and, discharging things. His eyes is very indicative of his character, and Rogue is indicative of his character. So this is one of them situations where it says Unbreakable X-Men, and that's how I look at it, is that Remy is broken and he's trying to push forward. The iconic eyes that he has no longer present because he's blind, and the love of his life, Rogue, which we always put synonymous with Gambit, no longer is there. So I mean, he's really trying to find a reason to live, but at the same time, he's like, "Look, I'm ready to be with Rogue, man. I don't want to be here anymore." That kind of situation. But his family is the one that's keeping him upright. And also, they have some major issues going on. And that's when Ransom says, "Lady Henrietta, you've been guarding the penumbra for a century, keeping that thing from coming to the surface. What changed now?" And Henrietta says, "I don't know, Ransom. All the gates are closed, all the mystic locks unopened, but something has awoken her, given her power, vast power." And Ivy chimes in, is there another entrance to our world from theirs? Because the tormented who attacked us were definitely real." And she says, "Not that I know of, Temper. I know if they tunneled outward, but I do know one horrible truth. Suvarak has arisen." And that goes back to Uncanny X-Men. Suvarak more or less has been a centerpiece in the Uncanny X-Men lore, considering the fact they are in Louisiana. And if you're not familiar with Suvarak is the type of entity that torments human beings, that if they had mutants in their family and they turn their back on them, so when they do pass away, they go to the penumbra. They go face to face with Suvarak, and Suvarak makes sure they pay for their betrayal. So going back, it says she will be the Leviathan, and all the horrors humanity has endured thus far will pale before her wrath. Plague, war, famine, she will eclipse them all. And because she feels her own kind betrayed her, her first meals will be mutants. So at that point, now keep in mind, Suvarak is a mutant herself. So considering the fact that what happened in Uncanny X-Men, that she's basically in prison and Henrietta is being the safeguards for that, she feels some type of way. Like, listen, I looked out for y'all, so why y'all giving me this? But you know what? Don't worry about it. When I get out, y'all gonna be the first victims. It won't be the humans first. It'll be y'all. So it goes back to the front porch where Gambit says, reckon you all know what it is. The gate, we got Shuvrak in. She's cracking open wide. Be out soon. Maybe within hours, Henry say. Our job is to stop her some ways. And Adi like, Uncle Remy, we aren't enough. And that's where Ransom like, look, Adi's right. Even with the full squad and the man thing, we barely touched Shuvrak. And it says, look, it's true, we need more firepower. But who we gonna call? Everyone in the world just trying to stay alive. Well, here's the thing, Gambit. We never told you this. The four of us, the original outliers, we took a vow. Death Dream made us. He's like, what vow you take, Ransom? He's like, to stop her if she ever broke free. Put her back in her underground prison. And if she won't go, to kill her before she kills us all. Now, from that standpoint, we get to Dome. Dome transports everyone to their respective areas to hunt down and find the outliers. And so it goes on to say, look, we're ready, Chelsea. You stay here with Henrietta in case you have to sound the alarm, okay? And be safe. And Gambit says something to her. He said, listen, if we don't come back, you take care of my girl, Butterscotch. He's like, I got me one last Gambit to try. Now, the first person that goes is Gambit. Now, he goes to Shanghai, China. And so the dragon, Sadarang, you remember Sadarang from issue number 1 of Uncanny X-Men, they actually wanted to eat him, but obviously they got some type of budding relationship, and we saw some of that in Uncanny X-Men before the Age of Revelation. And he says, hello, thief. He like, hello, Superang. Now, ain't you worried none about being seen? He like, nonsense. I'm considered good luck here. Now, I know what you want from me, X-Men. I would not go against Shuvrak Morsel. You have been civil to me, and I am fond of you. You are nearly dragon-like in your demeanor, but I would not face the voice of darkness. I value my own life far too much to risk it for mortals. I am sorry. Like, listen, you know how dangerous you have to be for Sudarang to say, listen, I don't want the smoke. I don't want no parts of what you got going on. Leave me alone. You know, but either way it goes to Death Dream. And so Death Dream says, Haru, Death Dream, the cemetery is 700 years old. Saints and sultans are entombed here. I speak with them a long ago tongues. He's like, don't you miss people, Death Dream? He's like, these are thousands here. I'm never alone, so please go. He's like, listen, Haru, I'm sorry for how our friendship ended, and I'm glad to hear you came back to life one last time, but it's Suvarak. We made a vow, little brother. He's like, curse you, Valentine Correa. Curse you to the eternal dirt. He's like, God dang it, man. I got to go fight this man. I got to go fight her. But either way, we got one. We got one in the deal. So now we go to Antarctica. And this is where we run across Jitter. And Jitter says, Adi, it's so good to see you. I don't get many guests. Like, aren't you cold? He's like, never mind. I forgot what your powers are. And so she said something that was very interesting. She says, Rogue trained me to work on my power, right? So I did, and it got so I could hold multiple skills. Shang-Chi, Hawkeye, Mr. Fantastic, Dr. Banner, Copernicus, hundreds more. Only now those skills have voices, and they won't go away. The silence keeps me sane, Adi. She was like, it's Shuvrak. I know pretty much everything now. I'll go, but I need a favor first. I haven't been warm in years. Like, can you just warm this house up? Because I know you got the ability. And I do like that little bit of banter from Uncanny X-Men, because even though Adi wasn't part of this group in the Uncanny X-Men run, it is nice that, everybody is friends from this standpoint. Then we go to Colorado and we go see Calico. So Spider-Girl goes to see Calico, and she's like, look, where's Becca? She's like, oh, nowhere you know. Dimensions, mostly to the stars sometimes. He's like, is Jitter going to be there? She's like, I expect so. You all made a vow, right? He's like, a vow? Yes. Long time ago. And Spider-Girl's like, look, is that horse of yours around? I mean, I miss him so bad. He's like, Ember? Yes. he'll always be around. I made sure of it. So not only is there just one Ember, there are several Embers based off of Calico's abilities. So don't know what her abilities extended to. It don't expand on that, because honestly and truly, when you look at this, Unbreakable X-Men is only going to be like 3 issues, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, you got to do a lot. You got to put a lot into this. So you're trying to get to the meat and potatoes and kind of like leave the vegetables out, if you will. So now we go to Shuvrak. Shuvrak is free and is toe-to-toe with Henrietta. And Shuvrak says, I will never be stopped until this world has gone quiet of life. Jailer. She's like, you will have to destroy me first. He says, no, I will destroy you last. And from that standpoint, the uncanny X-Men pulls up. The whole crew pulls up, except for Wolverine, of course, because, you know, he's mind control at this point. But it says, we are the uncanny X-Men, and you will put Lady Henrietta down. And that's when Gambit speaks. He says, for the first time in years, we aren't mourners. We are warriors. And this is probably what Gambit really needs, like some type of a joke to get him out of the funk that he's in. And he says, if this is our last fight, I hope I make my wife proud. Ransom, he take control like the leader he was always meant to be. Logan raised him right. Little girl I've known since she was born, been told she will be the last mutant. And that is Dome. And is this that day, Butterscotch? And that's when you get Ransom. Ransom's like, listen, Adi, I'm gonna need you to lean back just a little bit. Like, I'm gonna take the forefront. Like, I have to do this. I have to take care of our son. You know what I'm saying? I got to look out for our son. If I'm gone, at least you can take care of our son, but I got to be the one. I'm the leader in this. So he's like, look, hey, witch, show me your strength. Has it faded? Show me your strength. And now he gets smacked by Shuvrak. But remember what Ransom's power is. He said, thank you. A little kinetic energy is just what I needed. Spider-Girl, can you get me up there? So Spider-Girl launches him towards Shuvrak, hits Shuvrak straight in the jaw. And this is the first time that anybody's seen Shuvrak like stumble backwards, right? But from that standpoint, that's just, you know, a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? That's just like a little pebble in a wide ocean, if you will. Like, yeah, they're gonna have some ripple effects. They might have something, but all it did was piss Shuvrak off. And what Shuvrak did was burn the house down, burn Dome's house down, the Haven house. Then she takes Lady Henrietta, and we go to, how did she do this so fast? She's like, she's heading for the Gulf. She's like, why? He's like, Uncle Remy, my family's house. And she says, listen, if there's a tomorrow, Chelsea, we will rebuild. I promise you. And that's when Jitter chimes in. Remember, she has hundreds of abilities at this point. And she says she's headed for the deep water. She's headed for Atlantis. And Gavin like, why, child? Why there? All the places above and below. Like, he was called the first mutant for a long time. And he has no love for mutants or humans. She's going after Namor. He's like, Christ, that is not good. So that is how Unbreakable X-Men #2 ends. Now here is, I'm gonna give you my personal review on this. So I have a theory. I have a theory that Rogue will be alive at issue #3. I hope so. The perfect ending for this, and I know with Age of Revelation, everything is supposed to be bleak, everything is supposed to be dark, or whatever the case may be. But let that be the way that A, Gambit get his eyesight back, and B, Rogue is back to some capacity or another. Because remember, like earlier in this issue, Shuvrak was swimming towards Galactus. And maybe there's some type of rhyme or reason on what she's planning on doing. And we don't know why she's going after Namor either. And also, since this is the Age of Revelation time period, how much has Namor changed? How much has Submariner changed? Like, did he mutate it even further? Obviously, he's not a human, because he wouldn't survive the pressure of the deep ocean. So clearly he's a mutant, but how much has he grown or diminished from that standpoint? We really don't know that. But also, I do like the fact that it still focuses on Gambit as a character and how he's dealing with this grief, because he's not dealing with it very well. Luckily, he has his family. Luckily, he has Chelsea, and luckily he has the Outliers. And Chelsea is honestly and truly, I feel like she is the centerpiece in keeping him upright outside of Lady Henrietta. Because he just calls her butterscotch. Like somebody he has to look out for. Like that's something that keeping him like pushing forward, even though he's still having grief. Now, I definitely will say Unbreakable X-Men is probably the best comic book out of the entire Age of Revelation series. And that's just my opinion, and I'm going to stick to that. And I feel like number 1 is Unbreakable X-Men, and number 2 is Rogue Storm. Like, both of those comics are really good in the Age of Revelation storyline, and I'm not too much interested in the main continuity of it all. I you know, even though this is part of the main continuity, if to quote Blur It Out Fear, essential, not essential. So I'm gonna stick with Unbreakable X-Men. Can't wait for Unbreakable X-Men number 3, and cannot wait for Rogue Storm, man. Hopefully we get this happy ending. Hopefully we get this. And it says Clash of the Titans. It says Clash of the Titans at the end of Unbreakable X-Men number 2. So maybe we will see Rogue. Maybe Rogue is just in deep slumber and believed to be dead, but she's really not. And what part will Silverrat play in all of this? And will Silverrat get defeated? We will see. So do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell, because when you hit that notification bell, there's a drop down box. Make sure you select all in that drop down box. So until next time, y'all, peace.